Sony is raising the price of the PlayStation 5. We were expecting something like this, of course, because of Trump's tariffs and how that has destabilized the global economy. It has sent people running from the US economy. Things are, well, they're rough. And even though he's had some reversals and some changes of mind, it has not done a lot to sort of quell the concerns that people have about this, this situation of ours, as I guess I'll call it. So the tariffs were coming, the uncertainty is happening. It's hitting the United States very hard. So how much is Sony going to raise the price of the PlayStation 5 in the United States? Okay, here's the thing. And I think you Europeans are going to think this is really funny. All right, so just stick with me. They're not raising the price in the United States. They're raising the price on you. And also Australia and New Zealand. So here, look, I'm sorry. This is how this goes sometimes. Is that companies feel more comfortable raising prices in other territories before the United States. In this situation, I wonder if there were there's other elements at play, but definitely you cannot overlook the destabilizing effects of the tariffs and what that might mean for prices globally. And this is definitely at play here. Sony likely already had in mind that they were going to raise the price, and this just put them over the edge. Let's see what they say over on the PlayStation blog. PS5 price to rise in Europe, Australia, and New Zealand. Personally, I always hate the use of rise in headlines for this. The price is going to increase. Can't we just say that? I don't know. It's just my editor ear. No one else agrees with me there, so that's just a bugaboo for me. This is from Isabel Tomatis, Vice President, Global Marketing, Sony Interactive Entertainment. With a backdrop of a challenging economic environment, including high inflation and fluctuating exchange rates, Sony Interactive Entertainment has made the tough decision to raise the recommended retail price of the PlayStation 5 console in select markets in Europe, Middle East, and Africa, Australia, and New Zealand. So the European market will now, let's make sure this is on the screen. It is 500 euros for the PS5 digital edition. Let's see. And I had to pause there real quick because I wasn't sure how much that meant it was going up. That's around 50 euros it's going up. So about 10%. The United Kingdom is getting an increase to 430 pounds. That's an increase of about 40 pounds. Australia is going up about 70 Australian dollars. It will now be 750 Australian dollars. And New Zealand's going up about 90 New Zealand dollars to 860 New Zealand dollars. That is for the PS5 digital edition without the disc drive attached. Now, the disc drive version in Europe is not going up, according to this chart here. In the UK, that's also the case. But in Australia, the standard version with the HD Blu-ray disc drive is going up to 830 Australian dollars, and the New Zealand version is going up to 950 NZDs, I think is what they call them. They also said they're going to drop the price of the disc drive. Like when you buy it separately, they're going to drop the price of that. Let's see, in Australia, they're dropping the price by 35 Australian dollars. So what is happening here? Well, it is mostly, and they say here in their own words, of course, they don't have to tell you all of the reasons that they're doing this, but they are definitely using the current excuse, and it's a fair excuse. This stuff is going to cost them money. But they say because of high inflation and fluctuating exchange rates. Now, I think that the high inflation first is probably the biggest thing that they are looking at on their sheets already when they're looking at like what is costing them money. Have wages gone up for the labor that they have? Has component costs gone up? Yes, across the board. This has already happened. And while it's settled down, those prices are not going to go back down. Although right now, who knows, they could. And for as much as that sounds great, deflationary environments could be so much worse for us. Like, who knows what's going to happen next, but they likely won't go down. And Sony has to operate under the assumption that they won't go down in price. So that inflation's already happened. And now there are reasons to think inflation could be even higher with the tariffs that the United States is placing on things. Yeah, that is going to primarily affect components and things that are sold in the United States. But hey, Sony could try to make up some money in other territories. Again, I'm sorry that the United States is like this and does this, and everyone else sort of has to eat shit because of us. But that's what's happening. The fluctuating exchange rates, this is more them responding to volatility, and they don't like. There was a kind of a long time there where the dollar was worth a lot and the yen was way down, and they could just rely on that to mean, hey, we're going to make a lot of money when we sell things in the United States and bring them into Japan. That bring that money into Japan, those dollars are going to turn into a lot of yen, and that's working in our favor. Right now, the dollar could drop, precipitously. All global currencies across the board are up and down every day. It is really hard to predict. So they are raising prices to sort of buffer themselves against that volatility. Now, it could be volatile in their favor some days, and it could be volatile against them on other days. And it could average out that they actually end up making, more money. They end up making more money, or it just like works out in their benefit on average in the long run, but they don't know. So they're using this moment where everyone sort of understands what has happened so far to, understands, again, we'll put the quotes around that as well, that everyone clearly knows that there is insanity happening in the markets. Everyone does get that. And so Sony's going to use this moment to raise the price. And I think if we just think a little bit further out, the real thing that is happening here is they don't know what's going to happen next. And when they don't know what's going to happen next, they have to kind of look around inside a business like Sony and say, well, okay, what can we do now to maximize the amount of money we are going to be producing in the immediate term to offset any long-term calamities or losses that we may incur? And so they do have one immediate thing that does come to mind of, hey, this console audience is not growing, but we do know that there are a lot of people out there that have not yet bought PS5s, and they're waiting for one thing to happen before they really jump on board, and then they're not going to be able to help themselves. They're going to have a PS5, and that's Grand Theft Auto 6. Grand Theft Auto 6 is probably coming this year. I believe it now more than ever after these price increases. You got to get this price up higher because you need to make as much money off of that GTA 6 bump as possible, because you don't know what's coming after that if you're Sony. Like, what really is going to be the thing to get a lot of people on board the PlayStation 5 after that? And after that, you kind of, once PS5 and GTA 6, that peanut butter and jelly situation comes and goes, you're not going to have another opportunity to make a ton of money like that. Not really, not likely. So you got to make the most of that in this moment. You got to make hay while the sun shines, essentially. So that's their thinking. I'm beginning to feel like we're at a point, like a little bit of a breaking point. I don't think people are going to sit out the console, this console generation, because it's been too expensive so far, and now it's going up. People are going to buy this thing for GTA 6. And I just don't think people are going to be able to help themselves. But maybe not as many people will. And that's going to hurt them in the long run. And them being Sony and really all these console manufacturers, they have given up on the idea that the market can grow beyond its current audience. And that means they have to charge you and me, people who do show up for the consoles, as much as possible. The only way for them to really get growth is to get as much money from the current people who buy consoles and console video games as possible. And so when it feels like, hey, God, they are this is a crazy generation. Consoles used to go down in price. And then last generation, at least for Nintendo, but really kind of across the board, it didn't go down in price all that much, if at all. And now this generation, the prices are going up. Something has clearly broken. And I think the reality is that these companies can't make this business make sense anymore. At least not the way they've been doing it. So what happens next? My guess is that we are talking about a big price increase in the United States as well here very soon. For the PS5, likely the Xbox as well. the Nintendo Switch 2 situation still hasn't been cleared up. I know that we're hearing that maybe video game consoles and other electronics might be exempt from the tariffs, but now Trump has just tweeted or whatever, skeeted that there were no exemptions. Like, that's how he phrased it. And who knows what he means by that. But it's like, we don't actually know what the situation is with the tariffs currently in this moment. That's how bad the uncertainty has gotten. It's not that, hey, we don't know what the tariffs are going to be tomorrow. We don't know what they are right now. So, with that in mind, I kind of can't help but laugh, because I just can't believe we're in this situation because one dude is so stupid he doesn't understand what he's doing. And the scariest thing is that he went back on a lot of this tariff stuff, and things haven't really gotten much better in the markets and in the treasury market. It really has revealed that people are scared about the future, and he might have already broken everything. And so we might actually head into a recession no matter what, and then everything's going to be so much worse. So, yeah. PS5 is more expensive, and it's, no one to blame except for Trump and the people who voted for him. So fun. Sorry about this, the rest of the world. I get it if you're not big fans of us right now. All right, I'm going to get out of here. Everybody enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I hope you have a good week. Until next time, have a good one. Take care of yourself. And goodbye.